All right, so looks like the partial liquidity from the daily chart is going to be approached during the opening range after 9:30. At least that's what price is seeking right now. The first presented fair value gap at 9:36 used as inversion fair value gap, and that's the most obvious buy side liquidity on the upside, which means that we are probably going to get there. But yeah, pretty insane rally overall. London session gave a little bit of retracement. That was interesting to see. Left relative equal highs that were attacked with the 9:30 open. Then a little bit of shenanigans and reaching very close to that daily buy side liquidity, but not reaching it yet. They left and built up a lot of relative equal low sell side liquidity in here that are definitely very, very clean and smooth. Starting with this one and the lower one here, even really, really smooth sell side. Yeah, regardless. $9.51, which means 9 more minutes until the 10 to 11 silver bullet hour, the New York AM session. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm thinking about like if the daily buy side liquidity will be still up there, not traded to, then that's probably the more likely draw on liquidity near term, at least for the session. Potentially, we'll see. The first printed fair value gap, which is the inversion fair value gap, is kind of like the line in the sand right now. If we respect the upper half of that, it should be supporting the idea of running the buy side liquidity during the silver bullet hour. At least that's what I would anticipate at this moment, and we'll see. But yeah, we are definitely approaching the Wednesday after New York Open, which classically or typically on the NFP week, which we are inside of one, many times starts the poorer, more high resistance type of price delivery. So yeah, let's see what we'll get. Definitely with this strong run that we saw on indices across the board, I don't think it's a good idea to be fading that, to be honest. So far so good. The reaction of the first presentation is really nice so far, so let's see how it does. Very strong premium sensitivity off of this little bearish fair value gap right there. Traded right away into the consecutive encroachment of the first presentation. And closed bullishly. So I believe they might be playing some shenanigans around here at this moment to make this because this buy side is quite obvious up there. A lot of people will or do expect that, so they may want to shake them off with some wicked runs lower. Consecutive encroachment of this discount weak. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a tricky spot, I would say, because I feel like the price action is kind of prompt to leave those equal lows intact in theory. But at the same time, it's not that obvious. All right, so let's say we made this week, this high here, 945. Price retraced, failed to make a higher high, trade into consecutive encroachment, sold off. This bearish fair value gap, CB, runs lower a little bit, but it could not follow through that. So that's already like suspect. Like the idea is still it should be running up there. The question is how will it do it? How will that be delivered? So far price tapped a few times into the first presentation here and no bodies were laid inside of it. That's bullish generally. But yeah, nonetheless, it looks like it's delivering this before 10 a.m. anyway, which is outside of the model that I utilize. That's fine, no problem. Right, so it traded and closed above this, so this should act as a bullish inversion for value gap here and send it straight to the buy side. Right, so it wicked below it, but as long as the bodies stay above it, I want to say that it's probably good. But right at 10 a.m. it just smashed down back into the first presentation. And this is quite suspect at this moment now. This is quite suspect. Would I want to buy it just like that? I don't know if I would though. Yeah, that looks like a measure of distribution here, leaving those equal highs in play. Technically engineering another pool of relative equal highs right here also. Close in the lower half of this first presentation basically means to me that I require more intel, and or the sell side liquidity in here is more likely, I feel like. And as we are diving here, the sell side looks or seems to be quite potentially there. So yeah, that's about it there. So it's like smart money reversal, low risk sell, first stage distribution, going deep into the low risk sell but not overtaking it. First stage, and any retracement would be expected to be like the second stage. But to be honest, I mean, any retracement back into the first presentation here to the low, to those equal lows, that would seem like an idea. But yeah, at the same time, we made this displacement lower. Yeah, but why I don't think this was a good idea to short it right away is this consecutive encroachment here. We couldn't close below it. If we would, then any return would be more of a sell, I feel like, but we didn't. And that sets up a stage for a potential deeper retracement, I feel like. Which is potentially maybe this fair value gap here with the wick. But let's see, regardless, this is kinda interesting. All right, so that's the deeper retracement here. It still left relative equal lows. And now we'll be trading to this premium fair value gap here. Premium in regards to this range from this high, this low, it's the OTE type of area here. That's where it traded into. So the issue that I personally have with shorting this in here is the fact that the ultimate draw on liquidity is here. It's higher. And that's a daily chart draw on liquidity. So that's where it will most likely gonna go eventually. And this might be just a short-term little blip that may happen or may not, right? And this is quite a difficult price action to read again. So I guess let's see. Let's watch. Thing is, every day I joined you for some time. That's how you read market. What do you mean, my friend? Suyet? All right, so price traded deep higher. The last line of defense in here for this CB I like is this consecutive encroachment of this week. So if it's gonna make an attempt to run those lows, it should not breach this level though. Well, sure, I get it. I get it now. I mean, yeah, but these conditions right now are quite difficult and quite complex, right? And you can't argue that both sides are technically equal at this moment. We have equal lows, equal highs, and this mess. So how would you manage a high probability entry inside of this, right? This just doesn't fit the model that I try to utilize. That's why I'm waiting for either more information or just not doing anything, right? But that's how I approach this. Uh, and it is what it is. Yeah, also I don't feel any shame of admitting that these market conditions are difficult, and it's easy to get lost inside of this, I feel like. And PM session is a great guess, I feel like. PM session is a great guess, especially after a large range day as we saw yesterday. And so far what we are seeing during the morning session, that's quite a mess. So yeah, PM can only be better or the same. It will be hard to be worse. But yeah, generally I feel like there is like lots of manipulation in here. And eventually they might take it up there like quickly. But framing a very like low risk, high probability entry inside of this, I don't know at this moment. Like it's really like hard for me to justify that. And yeah. And I'd rather avoid guessing. So far the bodies are respecting this premium fair value gap rather well. So let's see if it can offer a measure of displacement here. Fair enough, Mr. Sweet. Thanks for letting me know. That's a good decision though, I feel like. Well, the CB in here is being respected pretty nicely, so let's see relatively close. Yeah, so this is really like problematic price action in here to engage with. Yeah, still not able to go through this premium CB, and is clearly in a time distortion. So thinking about like we made a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We are technically like in a second stage of this redistribution on a market maker sell model. So eventually, if we could leave this, it should do it with large ranges and a lot of speed right into the sell side here. That's kind of what I would favor, I feel like, at this moment. And it literally started doing this as I was speaking. So this should literally just be a smash on those equal lows, and that's it. Should not come back for any of those here because the work was literally done. Right, I like the close below the first presentation here. Let's see if it can slide now. Right, so indeed looks like those equal lows were more prompt to be attacked. Let's see if they will be indeed, but everything looks like they should be. So oh, Mr. Tom Warderbord, that's a good question. Overall, higher time frame bullish, but currently with this market structure, I would consider those equal lows to be attacked. That's like near term right now thing that I would like to see. And yep, nice attack. Lower, it should stretch and clear this sell liquidity out. There is another pull here that could be also attacked, but we'll see obviously. But I feel like all of that I feel like would be like damage done on the sell side to eventually turn around and attack the buy side liquidity here. I don't trust that this is like a turning point and we should now go significantly lower. If we do, then yeah, that I will be incorrect, but let's see. This is also like under high resistance liquidity and conditions, so it's very difficult price action though. Very, very difficult. Classic high resistance liquidity and conditions with deep retracements. So yeah, they really making sure they are making damage on both sides at the same time. I feel like the lower half of this first presentation should should be in play right now, and it should keep bodies from closing above the Kozuku encroachment and roll over basically if it's good. Let's see if we can now lose the ground and attack this short-term low. All right, there we go. Looks like this is it. Sell delivered eventually. But yeah, the level of difficulty of this run in here outside was quite difficult though. Maybe not impossible, but quite difficult. Now we can technically implement the event horizon between those two liquidity pools which is here, and that's basically what got traded down into right now. Yeah, technically it did already good enough on the downside. Will it go for the lower sell side liquidity? It could, but obviously that's like unknown at this moment. The body stopping in the upper half of this is suggesting that it might be a little bit bullish in here and show some discount sensitivity. Obviously that would be an early sign, but yet something to watch and observe. So this was basically the first 30 minutes of the 10 to 11 silver bullet hour. Will the another 30 minutes turn this around and send us right to the buy setup here? Maybe. Well, I mean, so far it retraced back into this premium for value gap and this week, and it shows some premium sensitivity there. Looks like likely lower low. And if that's the case, clearing the sell liquidity here is like a no-brainer. Immediate rebalance here. Let's see if we can tap into it. And yep, that would be basically reaching all the targets on the downside that I had potentially in mind. Yeah, I mean, same for me, Mr. Canal aftermarket. But yeah, getting good experience out of this price action. And we just touched the lower social liquidity pool there. I see, I see. But yeah, don't forget about those equal highs on the daily. So yeah, unless it looks like these obvious equal highs on the daily chart were spared on purpose, and they attacked or went against everyone who was trying to get along with that, leaving relatively close sell side, and potentially either preparing or allowing for a low resistance liquidity run higher towards the buy side. Actually, I wonder. But yeah, that might be left for the PM session though. I feel like, who knows, but yeah, the AM session's kind of sloppy. And yeah, I mean, so far at least it doesn't necessarily show anything that would be super obvious that it's going higher. It can chop around for a bit. We'll see, obviously, but yeah, I mean, if it really wants to seek some more on the downside, we have those equal lows here. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good question though. We'll see. So far it looks kind of heavy. I would say maybe PM session could revert a little bit and start seeking the buy side up there. I definitely don't think we are done on the upside. Uh, Overall, I think still this 30,094 even is the higher time frame draw on liquidity, and we will get that. But yeah, the question is how and when. And yeah, for today we are only left with the either lunch or the PM session, right? So lunch usually is the consolidation, more consolidated type of portion of the range. Sometimes obviously it can deliver, but deducting which session is more likely to do that, PM session would be probably the go-to idea. But yeah, still we just made some smooth level slightly jagged here. Will we make a lower low from where we are? We could. We definitely could. Right, so it's turning around a little bit here. That Vervalga about 10 a.m. needs to include the volume balance. Yes, there is a volume balance up there, but if you use the volume balance, you will see that the wick reaches the consecutive encroachment, which, I mean, I'm not saying that's incorrect. That's a suspension block, yes, but if the wick is so long, you can also use this volume balance here to the wick low, and that's a classic fair value gap, and there is nothing wrong about that. You can even see how the bodies respect the consecutive encroachment. Well, I mean, still it looks heavy. So the lower sell-side liquidity pool here is probably in the realm of reasonable. So we got a lower low. Let's see if it will stretch or not. Nonetheless, looks like the main move for this 0 bullet hour was the run on the sell side liquidity, and that was delivered. Now, slowly but surely, we will be rolling into the lunch, New York lunch. And let's see if that will be consolidation or not. But if lunch consolidates, then PM session has quite a chance to maybe make an attempt to run higher. Later today, but yeah, we'll see that. All right, so we delivered that sell side, and honestly, I don't have anything behind that at the moment. I don't really have anything behind that. So all of the sell side liquidity pools, all three of them, could have been potentially attacked, were attacked. So All right. So yeah, what I would like to watch right now, because higher time frame bias is still bullish, right? What was the move since 9:30? From 9:30 price moved lower, right? The first high after 10 a.m. here, and it's even a relative equal highs. So for the launch macro that will start 11:30 to 1:30 p.m., this would have been or could have been potential target for that. And because higher time frame bullish bias and larger draw is above that, you would expect the price to potentially gravitate further on the upside than just those equal highs here that were formed after 10 a.m., right? So I will annotate this as New York launch macro draw. And we'll see. All right, so the lows are looking quite jagged now. Highs are looking quite smooth. Yeah, I think that's how I would like to play that around. Yeah, we'll see. All right.